out there. So we have dental services that are available for our clients on a monthly basis. We have job fairs. We have other agencies that connect them with other social services that help them in their efforts to get back to self-sustainability. This is really about community. This is about not just handing people food, but it's allowing us to be a conduit for bringing help to the people instead of the people having to go out and find the help on their own. We really have a policy where we remove all barriers. So anybody that walks up the doors, they're going to get served somehow, some way.
High levels of arsenic and lead from the former Osarco smelter in Tacoma have been found in soil in areas of King, Pierce, and Thurston counties. Accidentally ingesting or inhaling soil with arsenic and lead can be dangerous to our health, especially in young children. Simple actions can minimize your family's risk. Wear gloves while gardening, wash hands and toys often, keep your pets clean, and leave your shoes at the door.
March 4th, 2025. The time is 3:01. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Councilmember Yambe.
Here.
Councilmember Krueger.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Excused.
Councilmember Herrera.
Excused.
Councilmember Morel.
Here.
Councilmember Ayala. Here. Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
You have 5 members present.
With 5 members present, we do have a quorum. Will you please join me this afternoon in the Pledge of Allegiance? We're going to have Councilmember Ayala do the pledge, followed by a moment of silence dedicated to the men and women serving overseas, and our land acknowledgement. If you can, please stand. The flag is behind us. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step toward true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land.
Thank you. This afternoon, we are on Section 4 of our agenda, and I'm looking to my colleagues to see if there are any objections to our agenda as presented. Seeing none, we'll consider the agenda for today approved. There will be multiple opportunities this afternoon for public comment on the consent agenda, which we'll go over first. You may provide public comment on any final action that does not include items placed on the consent agenda for introduction and scheduling. On today's consent agenda, there is 1 set of minutes for approval and 3 appointment resolutions for final hearing. During sections 8 and 9 of the agenda, we will take public comment on each ordinance and resolution individually. And finally, under community forum, there'll be an opportunity to address the council on any topic that's not up for final action this afternoon. For information on the rules for public participation, please review the bottom of page 1 of today's agenda. We are now at section 5, which is our consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull any items from the consent agenda? Councilmember Morel?
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, I move approval of the consent agenda, moving items C2A and C2C be placed under Section 8.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda, but remove items C2A and C2C to Section 8. Did I say something wrong? Okay. Then I'm going to ask that we do a public hearing on that. Does anyone have comments in chambers on the consent agenda as amended? Seeing none, we will go online.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on any final action items, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands this time, Madam Chair.
With no hands raised, we will bring it back to the full council. Is there any further discussion on the amended consent agenda? Can the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Morel.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Yambe.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
With 5 ayes, the amended consent agenda is adopted. That brings us to Section 6, which is messages from the executive and other county elected officials. The executive transmitted the following ordinances, which were approved and signed on February 26, 2025. Ordinance number O-2025-500, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council granting supplemental franchise number 1 to the OHOP Mutual Light Company Company for location of power lines on certain county-owned right-of-ways and authorizing the executive to execute said franchise agreements. And ordinance O 2025-501, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council granting a non-exclusive franchise to the Shore Acres Water Company for location of water lines in certain county-owned right-of-ways. There are, for Section 7, no proclamations, recognitions, or awards or presentations. So that brings us to Section 8, and we're going to start with the items that we pulled off of the consent agenda this morning, which we have proposal R 2025-113 before us. Councilmember Ayala for a motion.
I move to adopt proposal number R 2025-113.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution R 2025-113. Can the clerk please read?
Proposal number R 2025-113, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of 2 new members, Melissa Haney and Dr. Lucas McIntyre, to the Behavioral Health Advisory Board.
Thank you. And this afternoon, we see Dr. McIntyre. If you would like to unmute yourself, turn your camera on, and introduce yourself, we would love to meet you. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to serve. I'm very excited. So just to introduce myself briefly, so I'm Dr. Lucas McIntyre. I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist. I work for Multicare. I'm the founding director of our Tacoma General's Adolescent Partial Hospitalization Program. I'm also currently temporarily serving as the acting medical director for the Tacoma General Adolescent Behavioral Health Unit, which is the only inpatient psychiatric unit for youth age 13 to 17 in Pierce County. So I'm very excited to join and to be able to learn first and foremost, and then also be able to share what I can of my expertise to help Pierce County.
Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. Are there any questions for Dr. McIntyre? Okay. Well, this is a public hearing at this time. I'd like to invite members of the public to provide comment on Resolution 2025-113. Is there anyone in chambers that would like to provide comment on this resolution? Seeing no one, we will go online.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who should provide comments on proposal number R 2025-113, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Madam Chair.
Seeing no hands, I will close public comment and open it up for any final comments from my colleagues. Well, Dr. McIntyre, I just want to extend my thanks. The advisory board has a lot of work before us. We've been hearing pretty continually that behavioral health and in our county is something that we need to continue to work on, and truly appreciate you lending your expertise, especially with youth at the heart of that. And so thank you for volunteering for this really important work. Seeing no other comments, the motion before us is to approve R 2025-113. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Yonbe.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion is adopted. Congratulations, Dr. Lucas, or Dr. McIntyre, sorry.
Thank you.
That brings us to item R 2025, or proposal R 2025-116. Councilmember Morrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move proposal R 2025-116 for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt R 2025-116. Can the clerk please read?
Proposal number R 2025-116, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of 1 new member, Jordan Ely, to the Thun Field Advisory Commission.
Thank you for being with us. We believe today we have Jordan on Zoom as well. If you would like to turn on your camera and introduce yourself and tell us why you are wanting to serve with the Thun Field.
Yes, can you guys hear me? Mic check.
We can.
Great. Thank you for letting me be a part of your guys' meeting today. My name is Jordan Ely, and for my introduction, I would just like to say that I am looking forward to being a volunteer for Thun Field. I'm currently active duty Air Force, and I've been doing that for about 13 years, and I'm looking to grow in some different leadership positions, and Thun Field was on my list to be involved in the community. So I look forward to helping the airport team out, helping it thrive where I can, make use of the budget and the funds and some other experiences that I have myself, and I just would like to make it a better team while I live here. So that is really it for me.
Well, thank you for your service in this lane and also for your service to our country and the Air Force. Is there any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, we are going to hold a public hearing at this time. I'd like to invite members of the public that would like to provide public comment on R 2025-116. Please state your name if you'd like it on the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Anyone in chambers? Not seeing anybody, we will go online.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number R 2025-116, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands at this time, Madam Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close public comment and bring it back to final comments from my colleagues. Is there anyone who would like to provide comment? Seeing none, we will call the roll.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Yambe.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion is adopted. Congratulations, Jordan, and thank you for volunteering. Okay,
Thank you.
That brings us back to our original Section 8, which is resolutions. Before us today, we have R 2025-102. Councilmember Morrell for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval R 2025-102.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve R 2025-102. Can the clerk please read?
Proposal number R 2025-102, a resolution of the Pierce County Council granting the Pierce County Executive authority to execute an agreement titled Interlocal Agreement between Pierce County and the City of Ording for the provision of specialized law enforcement services.
Last line.
Agreement website.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly to brief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hitchin and council members. For the record, Andrea Kelly, council staff. You have before you today the last of the Sheriff's Department's interlocal agreements to come before the council for approval until they're scheduled to return in 2029. As some of the members recall, at the end of 2024, 15 interlocal agreements for specialized law enforcement services came before the council by way of resolutions. The Sheriff's Department negotiated these ILAs with Pierce County municipalities to establish consistent protocols and reimbursement for specialized law enforcement services to jurisdictions that would otherwise not have the resources or expertise of these specialized response areas. The agreements establish the rights and duties of each of the parties and authority protocols per response. The interlocal agreement before you today is with the City of Ording. This agreement had a commencement date of November 1st, 2024, with an automatic renewal date every January 1 to extend no later than December 31st, 2029. The ILA includes language that allows the Sheriff's Department to negotiate annually with the city regarding updated costs. I know there was some discussion about a potential amendment, but this is the version that the Sheriff's Department presented to the City of Ording, and they agreed upon. And because that language is contained in the agreement, there is no need to return and update that information. Exhibit A contains the terms of the specialized services. For this interlocal agreement, the City of Ording has selected to receive the service of special weapons and tactics, or SWAT, and they selected also the billing basis, which is per incident. So there is a fiscal note attached, which assumes the response of one incident. Of course, that would not be billed unless the city receives that service. Exhibit B establishes the specialized law enforcement service protocols as agreed upon by the city and the county for each individualized service. These protocols include mobilization criteria, command authority, authority to demobilize, media interactions, process for conclusion of investigations, community liaison, communication expectations with the city, and miscellaneous costs. And again, all these terms are consistent across all of the interlocal agreements. This resolution is being requested by the Pierce County Sheriff's Department. We do have department representation here as well for additional questions. And the proposal did receive a due pass recommendation at the February 24th Rules and Operations Committee.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Mr. Jollyboy, anything you'd like to add? Okay. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Councilmember Morrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question to Ms. Kelly is, been a month or two since we've seen these now. Does these jurisdictions get to pick and choose what specialized services?
Yes, they do. They do. Services offered by the Sheriff's Department range from major crimes detectives, major crimes forensics, internal affairs investigations, SWAT, hazardous devices, which would be bomb squad, and then, hazardous devices is offered as a regional asset along with marine services and air operations. Those are included as regional assets, but those other aforementioned services can be selected by the city, and the city again was able to select whether they were billed on an hourly basis per capita or per incident.
Okay, and so they got to pick and choose how they pay for these services, and if they don't use them, they don't pay anything?
If they have selected per incident, or then correct, they do not, or hourly, If they select hourly or per incident, they do not. However, some jurisdictions, based off of their budgetary needs or operational budget, one SWAT incident is billed as just under $17,000. And so some jurisdictions elected to bill per capita because a $16,000 bill could significantly impact an operating budget. So that was up to the cities and towns to determine what would fit their needs best.
Okay, because I know in some of these small jurisdictions, if a major incident happens within their jurisdiction, they have no way of paying for that. So how does that happen? I mean, what do we do with that?
Billing after an incident?
In other words, if we're doing it by the hour and they only have a budget of $10,000, they get a bill for $70,000, how is that dealt with?
I would have to defer to the department, but from the smaller jurisdictions that selected those services, we saw that they billed per capita as opposed to, and built that in almost like an insurance payment that it's spread over 12 months, so that they would be able to manage their own budget.
So they would then have that available at whatever cost is negotiated out, and then if they have 2 or 3 specialized incidents during that year, they're covered.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. Are there any other questions? Seeing no further questions, we will go to a public hearing. If you would like to provide public comment on Resolution 2025-102, please state your name for the record. You'll have up to 3 minutes to make your remarks. We'll start in the room. Is there anyone in chambers that would like to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we will go online.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number R 2025-102, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Madam Chair.
Seeing no hands, we will close public comment and bring it back before the full Council, are there any other comments? The motion before us is to approve R 2025-102. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Ayala,
Aye.
Councilmember Yambe,
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger,
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell, Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion is adopted. That brings us to item number 2, which is Resolution 2025-109. Councilmember Ayala for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to adopt proposal number R 2025-109.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 2025-109. Can the clerk please read?
Proposal number R 2025-109, a resolution of the Pierce County Council setting the date of an evening District Number 4 Council meeting for Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6:00 p.m. at University Place City Hall Chambers, 3609 Marketplace West, Suite 200, University Place, Washington.
Thank you. Ms. Long, can you let us know why we're doing this?
Thank you. Yes. So the Pierce County Charter provides that the council shall conduct at least one evening meeting in each of the 7 council districts each year. And the council's rules of procedure provide that the details, so the specific time, place, and dates of these evening meetings be established by resolution. The resolution before you today does just that for the District 4 evening meeting for this year. Details as noted by the clerk and in the title of your resolution. And I would simply add that this April 30th District 4 council meeting will be in addition to your regular 3 p.m. Council meeting on Tuesday, April 29th. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay. Then we will hold a public hearing on this. So if anyone would like to address the council on Resolution 2025-109, please state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. Anyone in chambers on this one? Seeing none, we'll go online.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number R 2025-109, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Madam Chair.
With no hands raised, we'll close public comment and bring it back before the council. Is there any further comments? Councilmember Ayala?
Thank you, Chair. Just want to say welcome to District 4. I know a lot of people are familiar, but I'm excited to bring something to council on that evening.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing no other comments, we will ask the clerk to please call the roll on Resolution 2025-109.
Councilmember Yambe,
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger,
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala,
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion is adopted. Looking forward to a great meeting in University Place. That brings us to ordinances. We have proposal O 2025-504. Councilmember Ayala for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to adopt proposal number O 2025-504.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt O 2025-504. Can the clerk please read?
Proposal number O 2025-504, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council vacating a portion of 154th Street Northwest, lying in Southwest Quarter, Northwest Quarter, Section 14, Township 22, North Range 1, east of the Willamette Meridian, Pierce County, Washington.
Thank you. And today we have Mr. Swanson briefing us on this ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our final proposal of the afternoon is ordinance number O 2025-504, which is in response to a citizen's petition. It would vacate an undeveloped portion of the 154th Street Northwest right-of-way, which is located on Key Peninsula, kind of just over the Purdy Bridge, near Horseshoe Lake, kind of right after you cross the bridge there. There is a in your packet on page 92, I believe that's the most recent version of the packet. On page 92, there is an overhead view, and then there's also pictures of the area in question that are on pages 97 through 99 of your packet to help guide you through this. The county engineer has reviewed the application and has determined, one, that the right-of-way segment in question is not needed for the county's roadway system, and two, it is in the best interest of the public to grant the proposed vacation, and the county engineer, again, does recommend granting that vacation. Planning and Public Works staff also conducted a review and has determined this portion of right-of-way is what's referred to as a Type E right-of-way, meaning there's credible evidence to support the conclusion that public monies have been expended in the acquisition, improvement, or maintenance of this portion of right-of-way. As a Type E designated right-of-way, the assessed value is required to be paid by the applicant before the vacation can occur. That assessed value is $6,072 in this case. And the applicant did remit that payment to finance on February 5th. So that portion has been taken care of. Those funds that, the funds that do come from the assessed value, just so for council members' knowledge, do get deposited into the county road fund is where that money ends up being deposited. Also, there's a $1,500 application fee that was paid by the applicant, and you do have a fiscal note in your packet that reflects both those payments being made. Your packet also does contain a equity analysis for this proposal. And with that, Madam Chair, we have both myself and we have Mr. Pat Turco from Planning and Public Works are available to answer any council member questions.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson. Mr. Turco, anything to add?
No, I think Mr. Swanson's described it very well.
Okay. Thank you for being with us this afternoon, just in case. Appreciate it. We do have a question or comment from Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Turco, can you explain or tell me what was done by the county that was like a $6,000 improvement? When I looked at that strip, I can't imagine the county doing anything. Was that what was done that made it Type E?
So what makes it a Type E is that we have a deed that we purchased monies to acquire the deed for the right-of-way. So that was the only expenditure we have. There are no improvements that we've done in the right-of-way.
So the deed would have been for a potential road easement?
Councilmember Krueger, the $6,072 number comes from an appraisal that was done of the assessed value of that area of land. The state statute regulates that the remittance of payment is based on the assessed value of the land, not the county expenditures. A strict reading of the statute would say that if the county could show they spent $1 at any time on this right of way, then that assessed value would apply to the vacation of the property of the right of way.
Okay, I'm just curious how long have we held that?
Pierce County, and the first deed portion came in April 19th of 1927. There's also a deed to another part of the property that was from 1946. This right-of-way actually segments two properties that come through. But yeah, so 1927 was one of the deeds, and 1946 was the other.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those questions and for following up with answers. Councilmember Morrell, did you have questions?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Swanson, could you remind me again where those funds, what account they go into?
Yes, the application fee goes into the Building and Development Fund, which is used to obviously operate Planning and Public Works. The actual assessed value payment, that $6,072, that is deposited in the County Road Fund. And in your budget book, you'll see that under the revenues that come into that fund. I believe it's listed as charges for fees and services. I believe in your budget book is that line item.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for the questions. Any further questions? Seeing none, I am going to open this up for a public hearing. At this time, I'd like to invite members of the public who would like to provide public comment on O 2025-504 to please come to the podium, state your name if you'd like it on the record, and you have 3 minutes. Seeing none, we will go online.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number O 2025-504, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands at this time, Madam Chair.
With no hands raised, we'll close the public hearing and open it up to final comments from my colleagues, if there are any. Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll on adopting O 2025-504.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Yombe.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
With 5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion is adopted. Thank you very much. That brings us to section 10, which is community forum. During community forum, this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that is of significance or affecting Pierce County government and that did not appear on our agendas for final action today. There is a 3-minute limit, and we ask that you state your name on the record if you would like it there, and address all comments to the chair. And we're going to start in chambers, and then we'll move online. So is there anyone in chambers that would like to address the council? For those on Zoom, there's actually people in chambers, which is why we are pausing, but so far they are staying quiet, which is totally fine. So we will go online and see if there's anyone in Zoom who'd like to address, again, 3 minutes to the council.
Yes, Madam Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. Madam Chair, looks like at this time we have one hand. Dewey, please state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes.
Hold on. You there?
We are. We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, I want to thank Amy again for taking the time to watch a video about DIY inspections and letting the rest of you know how simple it is to do. Really, all you have to do is watch it to realize for yourself that it's easy to do. I got an email from Janie that said they had to establish a schedule and possibly have to buy new software program, and gave a bunch of excuses of why it's taken so long. And then said these are not excuses. She mentioned COVID, which in March 2023, Biden declared an end to the pandemic, new leadership in the health department, a board of health chair fighting cancer, in an entirely new way of running our health system, our health department, which all this does seems like is a reason not to have a program up and running, or for it to take this long to get it up and running. And then she tells people that getting a DIY inspection is a priority and has informed the director that it's a priority for them. Then Chantel says it's a possibility in 2026, which I don't know why it's a possibility. Dave spoke about the red tape the health department's been putting up, so we can't have it. And once again, I thank Dave for speaking up about it, but it's too bad the other people on the Department of the Health Committee doesn't have anything to say about it. But if they're the ones putting up the red tape, then they could be the ones taking it down. The only reason they're putting it up is to make it difficult, which shouldn't be a thing. And then all they do is make excuses of why they can't get it up and running, not to mention all the misinformation, the misleading, and flat-out lying, which is all a form of manipulation. Laurel, the senior advisor, said there was an average of $250 septic inspection, which is not true. She also said that Lake Tapps was so polluted that it had to be closed, the whole lake, which wasn't true. Here's exactly what Chantel said. There's a recent code change that allows the health department to be able to establish homeowners' septic inspection process. Here's the problem with that statement. She said that in 2025, and that recent code change was in 2024. not so recent, and then they established it back in 2000, and other counties have been doing it for 15 years. I'm right now talking with Nicole Robbins' assistants about getting a grassroots movement going to help the Department of Health get this going faster and up and running by December 2025. With all you have to do is watch the video that the Washington Health Department put out 3 years ago. That's the one Amy watched and said it was pretty simple to do. And really, that's the one all of you should be watching and comment on how hard it is to do. So if anybody is in the other districts have their constituents that want to be a part of this grassroots movement, please have them contact Nicole so we can get them on the list and maybe get this up and running in their district.
Thank you for your comments, Dewey.
And at this time, Madam Chair, I see no other hands.
Seeing no other hands, we'll close community forum and bring it to any other business from my colleagues this afternoon. Seeing none and no further business before the council, we are adjourned. Have a wonderful day.